My name is Sean Toomey. I'm just going to introduce this session. I'm going to pass on to Peter pretty soon. My first task here is to press the Start Recording button, which I've just done. So this session will be available for download as well. Let's just go through the next slide, Peter, please. So the agenda today is we'll do a brief introduction. I'll explain who Peter is and effectively pass over to him to do the presentation, and then we'll do a bit of a wrap-up. So what I'm interested in doing here from the background is understanding what we can do to make these sessions more relevant and more productive. So we've got a few polls. We didn't go too crazy, but there's a bunch of feedback we'd like to get from you guys. And after the session, you will get a survey as well. So please fill that in and let us know what we should do to make these sessions more relevant. So let's just go to the next one, please. So for those of you who don't know what A2K do besides basic CAD software, there's a whole bunch of other things we get involved in. We've got an entire hardware division. We're doing more and more IT services. We do a whole bunch of high-level consulting as well as training courses, and we get involved in everything from license management software to customized software we do ourselves, to add-ons like BIMLink, to Semantic and Microsoft and everything else. I won't go into it too much now. The session's not about this, but it's just to make you aware that we do that kind of work, and please leave us know what's relevant. So the other thing to remind everybody of is that there is a large technical team at A2K. And one of the things I'm interested in doing is a series of webcasts where a bunch of the techos work on a common theme. So for example, collaboration. We can show it through different bits of software. We can talk about the actual governance side of it and do a white paper at the end of the month to show what we've learned from each session. So again, we're after as much feedback as possible on that. Now, in terms of this session here, I want to just do a very quick poll just to see how many guys have used BIMLink before or what your exposure is to it. So I'll launch this, and you should see a series of options on your screen. So that will give us some feedback for what's relevant. Okay, so it looks like most guys haven't used it before. It's quite interesting. One or two are using it actively. Just give it a few more seconds to get a good handle on this. Okay, so let me close this and share that screen. So that's very useful for us to understand what we should focus on. So after the session, we want to get some more feedback on what else we should do with BIMLink. So let's go to the next slide. The next slide I want to talk about is the actual collateral that we produce. So you will have seen the fact sheet that we did for this webcast. We also have a user story. We can do a whole bunch more variations on this stuff. We want to just get some feedback from you guys on what's relevant for that. Personally, I'm a fan of cheat sheets. I don't like reading big manuals, but I do like just having very, very quick start guides I can print out on my desk. So if you can just give us some feedback on which of these are more relevant for what you do. I may have influenced the vote. Everyone's pressing cheat sheets, but just leave us know what's more relevant. Okay, the white paper ROI looks relevant, and also the training courseware. Okay, well this kind of confirms what was being discussed internally, which is quite good. So let me just close this one. And again, I'll just share the screen here so you can see what's happening with this. For the guys who voted other, please leave us know what. We're happy to take all suggestions on board. So let's just switch back to the PowerPoint, and I'll quickly introduce Peter and then pass over so we can get into the hardcore technical presentation. So you may have to reshare your screen again, Peter. So for those of you who have not encountered Mr. Harris before, he's got about 20 odd years in the industry. He used to be an associate director with a large consulting firm, a very successful consulting firm, so he's got experience in the business side as well as the technical side. So we like to get him in front of as many customers as possible because he can discuss large and small projects from different levels in terms of business and technical sides. As you mentioned a while ago, experience in all kinds of projects, many years of it at business and technical levels. The brief contents, which I will now pass on to Peter to show, are basically to show BIMLink on 4 of the many scenarios we can use. These are like a representative sample of the various things that can be done. And then we'll show some of the other packages like Ideate Sticky and Ideate Explorer. And as I said earlier, we will allow some time for feedback as well.
Can you see my screen now?
Yeah, we got it, mate.
Sweet. We're back.
Very good.
Over to me?
Yep.
Sweet. Okay, welcome all. What we're going to go through today predominantly is the BIMLink, and we're just going to sort of give you a bit of a taste of just a couple things that you can do them. So first of all, what I'll do is I'll just sort of flick through the PowerPoint and then I'll go live and we'll do it inside Revit. So one of the first tasks that we can do is, within a sort of Revit space is, because Revit sort of BIMLink brings in sort of the Revit and Excel game together, it sort of allows you to sort of import, export. It's like a push-pull type scenario. So we'll sort of be going through and doing things like renaming views, which will sort of allow us to obviously make everyone's life a lot quicker. Also at the same time, what I'll be doing is even the drawing sheets and sort of adding like a prefix, like a different stage or works packages as you need at different stages. In addition to why you need to sort of head towards the BIMLink game, there's been a fair bit of misconception out there that you only need BIMLink when it's a BIM project. One thing that you can really use, probably the BIMLink tools mostly for, is reduce the red pen markup, which I'm going to show you. Just the concept that it's changing a workflow of what you've been doing for the last 20 years. Just taking a step back and swapping a few things around, you can save quite a considerable amount of time. So in addition to that, also we can learn how to actually drive actual modelling elements from an Excel spreadsheet. So again, this sort of goes hand in hand with the red pen markup. You can fill out data and elements will actually be changing at the same time. One of the probably most powerful items within the BIMLink is accessing the hidden data. Natively inside a Revit schedule, you only have a certain amount of fields or parameters that you can access for each object. BIMLink basically goes down to a new level. So it allows you to access these levels and essentially do something with it. So as you can sort of see on the screen there, which I'll show you in the demonstration, is your coordinates. So if you're having to do a coordinate schedule for all your piles, you have the ability to essentially set up your X and Y coordinates. So at this point here, I'll just quickly jump back into Revit now and go through some of the demos. So our first one, what we're going to do here is, can everyone see my screen? Sean, got my screen up?
Yep, perfect. Yep,
so on the right-hand side, you can sort of see the browser setup. So predominantly in a lot of companies' standards, often it's capitals as a start point, and especially if you're on a structural sense and you may be copy monitoring levels and grids and etc. across, you often are just sort of receiving what has already been set up. So what BIMLink allows you to do is sort of rename some of these to be capitals. So first of all, we'll just go and access the BIMLink tool, and we'll create a new link. And this basically lists anything that's in the project at the time. So we'll just quickly jump down. Looking at views, this is our view names we're looking for at the moment. So at this point here, it's the available properties, which is like fields inside schedules. However, it is at a higher level. You can access items that you can't access in native Revit. So we'll just scroll down. We'll go and look for view name. And not that it's part of this demo, but there is one there called view templates, so you can actually apply view templates to view names at the same time. At the same time, what I'm going to do, any good browser setup, as you can sort of see on the right-hand side here, you've got floor plans, ceiling plans, 3D views, elevations. So if I actually go and place in the actual family name, this is going to help me from an Excel point of view. Let's get that across. As you can sort of see, floor plans, ceiling plans. At the moment, there's 39 different views. You can see where it says 39. There's 39 technically through here. So at this point here, I'm just now going to go to Done and export this out. And I'll be just basically placing at this point here and opening this in Excel. and Ideate all coming up. So I'll just sort of try and put it side by side so you can hopefully see what it's looking for at the moment. So you can sort of see O1 entry, O1 entry. Now, the main reason why I put that family in there, it's just starting to use the power of what Excel. So Excel has a pretty cool tool which is filtering. So at this point here, it'll just allow me to very quickly start looking at, say, floor plans. So this way I can have a look at floor plans, and I'm only seeing what floor plans are there at the moment. There are many other sorting options under the data with sorting that you can do, but this sort of is just a quicker way for filtering things out. So in this case here, I'll just go select all. Now what I want to do is make these all capitals. So again, Excel has a pretty powerful tool. So using a function, so it's called equal upper. So convert the string to uppercase, starting the function, and you can sort of see how it is. So, and as we know from an Excel point of view, very easy to sort of flood all your views. Now at the moment, I haven't worried about if they're all mix and match because it's at the moment it's looking for an ID. So everything within a Revit space has a unique ID. So O1 entry level has a unique ID 312. So in this case here, it's just based in order of ID numbers. So now once I've sort of completed my task, my initial task, I can then copy all the results and I can paste special and get all the values across. So at this point here, I can leave this here. I don't need to delete any items. I can now save my Excel, close. I can now, once I've completed that, I can now import, selecting my views, which is the one I've just created. When you are looking at renaming views, it's highly recommended that you do not press yes. This will rename all the corresponding views. So this will now essentially go through. It's just telling us what it's about to do. So what we're looking for is 0 errors and warnings. So that means as soon as I go import, if you're looking on the right-hand side, you should see this update automatically. And as you can see. So a very, very quick method to be able to essentially do uppercase. At the same time, because it's in Excel, you can do spell checks and whatever you need to do. Now, if I now need to sort of, I'm going to go back and add, just to bring you back into Excel, I'm going to sort of add that this is stage 1 for these floor plans. So I'll just quickly open views. So here they are here. So we can sort of see at the moment what it is. Now, if I use a different command, so if I start filling out a new set of text called stage 1 as an example, now what I want to do is, because I only want to work on floor plans, so I'm just going to go back to the floor plans just to filter my list. So at this point here, now Revit has Excel has another command called concatenate or concatenate. So it joins a series of strings. So if I select that, I want this to be stage 1, comma, inverted commas, dash. So that basically allows me like a typing text. And then selecting then the current text, and you'll sort of see what's done. So it's stage 1, O1 entry level. So if I now essentially select flood my drawing, and then essentially flood this, you can sort of see how each of these cells are being grabbed as it is. So again, using different commands inside Excel can very quickly help you set things up. So I'll just paste special, values only again, and okay. Oops. Try again. Not quite sure what it's doing. Sorry. Just bear with me. Yeah, something's going wrong with Excel, but this will do at the moment. You'll sort of see this come through. So I'll just sort of have to take that through. So it'll be enough for the demo. So again, we'll close that off. Back into a Revit space. activating BIMLink, importing this, and again, it's going to tell me at the moment there's probably something that's not quite correct. That's okay. I'm just going to go import and close. And you can hopefully, and the answer will be cancel. And you can sort of see how some of these have jumped through very quickly. I'm pretty sure what it had to do with, just now that I've remembered what it was, one of the main reasons why I was sort of having the issue is I'd probably have to come back and go select all and sort of get all these going through at the same time. It sort of does, Excel gets a little bit upset with cut and pasting when you have sort of like a reduced list at the time. So as you can sort of see, very, very quickly, it's a quick tool to help rename things, especially if you have particular BIM contracts and you have to rename views according to different contract requirements. In addition to, obviously, views, you can also do sheets. So again, sheet names, setting up drawing sheets can be quite time-consuming. So again, activating BIMLink. In this case here, I'm going to create a new link, and this one will be drawing sheets. So I'm coming down, I'm looking for sheets. And again, I've got all different cells. So I'm going to come down, I'm going to look for sheet number, name, number. I'll just quickly move that one up. So it's at that point there. And again, you know, I can put any of these other parameters in here. And as part of the training that Sean will talk about at the end, we will teach you how you can use this to actually fill out all your revisions. That's done, and I'll export this back out, and I'll call this one Sheets. Open File. And as you can see, this might be called Set Out Plan. So you can have these linking from Excel to Excel. In addition to that, you also have the ability to create your own drawing sheets. Closing this, back into Revit, re-importing, selecting the sheets, import, close. At the moment, there's only 2 drawing sheets. Right-click, New Sheet. In the placeholders, My New Sheets. And it's a very quick method to fill out your drawings. In addition to that, there's other add-ins. At some stage, we'll be doing webinars through the tools for Revit. That'll actually allow you to also go through and place views within a drawing sheet. So that's the first part of it, which is sort of the renaming. It's like the admin task. The red pen component, where that sort of comes into play, is basically anything that you need to sort of edit. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to close out of this, and I'm going to just jump into a structural model. I'll just minimize this. Okay, so these are just the Autodesk sample files. As you can see, you know, nothing special, but what I want to be able to do, first of all, is red pen markup. So, and this can go for any discipline, but you know, structural is a simpler method to show. So, as an example, each of these piles you may need unique elements, which is different loadings, ultimate load, working load. So very quickly, just like setting this all up, I can go to a new project parameter. I'm just going to add a new one, and this will be called, say, footing working load. So if you want a combination of text and numbers, you can use basically text as a type, or numbers or lengths. So you can go through these. I'll be using text. I'll just quickly throw in a text group instance, just for quick method. So normally I will go through and do structural foundations, which is the one I need. And OK. And now, if this is a structural foundation, and I know that by I'm either hovering or looking to the bottom left, so when I select one of these piles, I've now got my new parameter there. Now, from a red pen markup point of view, your engineer is either going to have to spend a lot of time marking up a red pen on the drawing and give it to the drafter, and they're going to have to do it, or you bring BIMLink into play. That will allow you to essentially export all these piles. So I'll be going to a new link, and I'll be looking for structural foundation, and it's correct. And in this case here, what I'm looking for is my new, on the left-hand side, footing working load. So down here there should be a new parameter, which is footing working load. Now on a normal project, and in training we'll go through the process of how you can number your elements. So you may also have individual marks. So I might move that up, so that might be P1, P2, P3, etc. So you can fill this up as much as you need to. And once I'm completed, and export this out. And open the file. And as you can see, so even if these are all, say, P1 types, this will give you the very quick ability to flood your drawing. So I've got all my files, and now the engineer can go and fill out all different data. So I'll just sort of do some different information. So this is the red pen marker that the engineer can essentially fill out a spreadsheet. Make this quick. Saving the spreadsheet. Re-importing. Structural foundations. As you can see, it's going to import and fill out some data. And obviously, you know, when obviously duplicate marks, which is correct in that case. And you can see the data filled out. So if I now quickly jump over and create a new foundation schedule, which is the final output of what you need on your project. Obviously now with our new information, and it's a mark, and I can add comments, can add whatever I wish. Down, okay. And so very quickly you're getting all the data. So rather than the individual person filling out information, as you can see, we use Excel as a power of it. Now, in addition to this, what we can do is actually start driving the model. So what we're going to try and do, and the reason I'm going to do it in this step is because a lot of people miss the step of it has to be an instance-based parameter. So this is out of the box families, a standard Autodesk project. So as you can see, if I go now to edit type, you can see how basically it's got a length. Okay, so what I'm looking for essentially the pole depth. So anything that's going to drive the pole. So what I might do is try and edit some of these. There might be some individual poles. So we'll just bear with me for a tick. So what I'm looking for is where does it actually drive the pole now, which it doesn't. So jumping through to edit family mode. Okay, so hopefully we don't have any data coming through at the moment. So at this point here, we'd have to switch some of these to instance. So just for the ease of the training, so what I'm going to do is drop in a single pile, and this will very quickly give you access. Now I've deliberately done this because if it all works perfect in a demo, you guys are going to technically have a go and then realise half the information won't work. So I'm just going to drop in a couple of piles. So I hope we've got our single pile in here, which we do. So again, these are all out-of-the-box families. So hopefully I can sort of see there's the depth where I need that to be an instance space. So I'll just quickly switch him back across to be an instance space. Okay, so we should now have individual control which you want. So if you can imagine you've got hundreds of these poles coming across, so as you can sort of see, I've got 12 metres, that should now drive length. Now, being an instance-based, obviously if I now go back to structure foundation, now I could go and create a new one, but what it would make sense is you basically continually layer up your existing link and add existing data. So I'm now looking for depth, and I can sort of see where some of these 6,000 ones are coming through. So hopefully, so what I also might put in here is family and type. And this is going to help me sort of from a filtering point of view. So I'll just go through that before I export. I'll just double check it. So I'm looking for its pile steel. I'm looking for depth as the 1200. So if I now go back to this point here, I'll export this back out. And it's overwrite in this case. Okay, so you can sort of see, now you can sort of see the greyed out ones versus obviously the full colour, the light blue. Obviously these are the ones that I can actually edit the information. Okay, so scrolling down. So here's some values here to 3 down here. So if I now just very quickly change these to 15,000, so this will hopefully give the idea if you have this pre-set up, and we'll show you in the training, you can have all your pile depths, you can control all your loadings, so you get one spreadsheet with all the information filled out in one go. Okay, so I'll just make that 10,000. So we should have 3 different piles, saving, closing, import. Okay, so it's 3 elements that have changed, which is correct. Import, close, and hopefully you just saw now those elements have changed. So that gives you greater flexibility. And to make this work, it's just changing some of your habits that you've been doing for a while and just sort of taking a step back and working out a best workflow. So that's the sort of red pen and adjusting the model. Now, where you can sort of get hidden data is, as an example, on any of these foundations, there would be a coordinates. After I've acquired coordinates and got all my data set up, natively inside schedules, which I'll show you, if I go to a structural foundation schedule, and it's the same with any elements in any of the packages, I can't see the coordinates. There's no fields available. So what I'm going to use the comments on these just for this example. I'm going to fill that out with the coordinates. So again, with the BIMLink, accessing that, and double clicking to access more. So again, what I'm doing, I'm layering it up slowly but surely. So at this point here, I can now go down to coordinates, selecting my X and Y's, exporting these out. Opening the file, and you should be able to see all the coordinates of all the piles. So what I'm going to do now, at this point here, you can sort of see very quickly I forgot to add the comments, so that's fine. Yeah, all you're going to have to do is just go back into BIMLink, so we'll just close that out again. Selecting this. Exporting that back out. Opening my Excel. Okay, so here's my comments. I'm just using that data. Okay, so what I want to do at this point here, I want to sort of grab the X and the Y with a comma between and have it as basically a data set out point. Okay, so using the function, so concatenate, and I want to essentially have, I want it to say a P1, comma, inverted commas, start brackets, inverted commas, comma, and then comma, inverted commas. And we teach you all this inside the training. As you can see now, that should very quickly, basically what I'm going to do is fill this out. So it's a P1, it's reading all the data. Now that's just units. This is an example here, I just won't worry at the moment. So I'll just quickly flood my model. Okay, as you can see at the moment, there's no parameters sitting over here, so I just might quickly make these P2. So that's all come through, which is good. Grabbing all my information, copy, paste the values, saving this, re-importing back through. As you can see, it's 297 elements it's found, so there should be 297 foundation elements. Import and close duplicate marks, which was correct prior. As you see now, I've now got my comments, which is at the P2 and it's got a coordinate set up. So that should sort of give you a bit of a taste of all the hidden data, and there are many, many more things that you can access that you can't natively see from a Revit point of view. Okay, so that's the sort of hidden data information and the red pen markup and the views. Now, as I've just said, there's many other things of what you can try and do with this. It's essentially from a BIMLink point of view, it's anything that is repetition. So if there's a repetitive task in your office, you've got to try and find a way through it, and at least BIMLink will give you the option. Now, that's the sort of first few things I want to show in the BIMLink. Sean, would you like me now jump through and just show them a bit of the Sticky and the Explorer? There are other products what Ideate make.
Yeah, there's just one quick question here from Christian, which was to change the sizes, does that size have to exist in your project already?
To change the size of this pile, yes, it does. So yeah, because BIMLink is looking for anything within the project and the project's database. So if you don't have that type or that size within your project, you can't extract it from a secondary database.
Yeah, cool. And there's quite a few questions about the Excel skills, but as you mentioned, that will be covered in various training courses.
Yeah, correct. Like part of the BIMLink training that we're setting up is there'd be like a handout cheat sheet, a bit like what you were talking about earlier, that you can't be a guru in Excel, but we can give you sort of like the top 6 to 10 tip things of what you need to do inside Excel. So
yep.
And to be honest, yep.
So the other questions were really about the applications of this. So obviously, you've got the experience to know that you can use it for these piles. So again, that will be used. The question just come in where people are asking them what applications for estimating.
Yes, correct. So any element that you model, if it has a volume or an area, so if I go to, let's pick this one here, the roof, what have we got here? Yeah, we've got a volume and an area. If we've got that information, in addition to, from an estimating point of view, we've got all these other parameters, which these are all inbuilt, which is cost. But that is not stopping you as a business to have your own inbuilt information to be able to apply rates or whatever you need to do, and you can export everything out from a costing point of view. However, it is as accurate as you are modeling. That's because it is real live data. Yep.
Yep. Good. Yeah, well, there's plenty of questions around that. So I'll just pick the kind of common themes.
Yeah.
So,
coming back to where to apply, as you know, Sean, part of what I do is I try to also get to sites to help people understand their current workflows and where they can actually use this, and almost trying to enlighten them that if you sort of change some of your workflows, you can actually save a lot of time and hence a lot of money in the business. So.
Yeah. Perfect. Could we, yeah, I might just jump onto the sticky and Explorer as well.
Yeah, sure. Okay, so so that's not sure where our.
So there's one more question here, Peter, which is, can the systems retain superseded plans and documentation for a legal sense, i.e., plan revision a change, aside Plan A and Plan B, can you still show what's been superseded and what is current in the setup of the schedule?
Okay, so could you read that first part again to do with context?
So the question is if the systems can be used for superseded plans. So if you've actually changed revision A to revision B, what can you access from revision A, or how would you go about that process?
Okay, it's what you can do, because essentially what this program does is brings Excel into the game, which is data extraction in or out. If for example, and I've done this in the past, that if this was a tender set of documents, I could very easily select every element in my tender set of documents. I'll just do one item as an example, and fill out that this is called tender. So that way it's tracked. Therefore, what I could then do later down the track is essentially export another spreadsheet, and you could do a comparison. And the way you can do comparisons then back through Excel, because as I mentioned from an Excel point of view, I'll just open up this, every element has a unique ID. So that would allow us to compare, if it's the same ID number, what is the difference between the two. So it does give you the ability to access, but that starts to go in the high end of using VLOOKUP and pivot tables in Excel. So, but it is possible.
So I think the situation is that you can get quite ambitious and you can just do kind of obvious basic stuff, which is really how Excel works anyway. You can do simple formula, and if you watch some accounting guys using it, they're able to do extremely clever tricks and tips with it as well. So we can summarize that at the end. Perfect.
Yep, agree. Okay, so what I'm going to jump into, so currently Ideate, that's the BIMLink. Now, they also make what is called Explorer and Sticky. Okay, so I'll go through Explorer first. Explorer essentially is where you can find potential errors, or it's a way to do auditing, as an example. Now, when you've got a large job, and if you've ever had to audit or check other people's models, sometimes you'll be struggling to understand. As you can sort of see here at the moment, these all look like tags which is reading real data. Now that one looks like a tag as well, but I know for a fact that's text. Yes, I did deliberately set this up for a fail, so we do see it. So if I now go to essentially Explorer interface works as like almost a super filter. So normally down the bottom right, you've got down here your normal filter when you're selecting elements. So this will give you, I'll just jump out of that and give you a quick idea of the difference. So if I select a series of elements and filter, you can sort of see at the moment there's 32 elements. However, it just tells you it's a floor, or it just tells you that it's a framing member. You can only get to one level. Whereas while it's still selected, if I'm now running Explorer, what it can do is get to a whole new level. So it's still 32 items, but all of a sudden I can get to a new level of, out of those 11 structural framing, I've got 8, which are the beam, of that 400 by 800 and 600 by 900. So that's the first concept of what the Explorer is. It's like a souped up filter allow you to get to points. Where I've used this multiple times in the past is to try and find if there's been errors in models that, people make mistakes, but sometimes on deadlines you've had to sort of rush things and sort of take a shortcut. So what I can do here is basically select the entire project, and the first thing I'm going to go and look for is I want to see potentially where any text, and I know that the office standard was 3 mil text, where has someone potentially written that looks like a tag. Now, to me they don't look like tags, but this one here is really calling up what it should be. That should have been a tag. So if that was a very large model, it would very quickly give me the chance to understand. So at that point there, I can isolate it if I wish, so you can see that in the view, or I can essentially create a new view. I could go to basically a detail view and export. So if that exports to an Excel, it then, and this is where you sort of come back to, if you have a QA checking between elements, where you can use this because each element has a unique ID. If that's a unique ID, you can use that in tandem then with BIMLink and can load up a parameter automatically. So again, that's sort of part of the sort of future training. So that's the concept of what Explorer does. It's a very good auditing tool and a souped up filter. So that's one of the tools. The other tool of what's just been released about 2 to 3 weeks ago, it's called Sticky. So this, where Sticky is used is non-BIM data. This is not to control the data of what we've been doing so far. So for an example, if I just quickly put on an A1 sheet, just a blank sheet. Now I know from a structural sense, creating column schedules has always been painful, but you can use this from any sort of scheduling of any type. Now if I'll just close this one out. Okay, so hopefully you can all see the screen, which is essentially a column schedule. So this is sort of looking a bit like how we've always done it in the history, collecting numbers, filling out data of what you need to do. So this will just give you a bit of a taste of what it can do. So, all right, so I've got my column schedule there. I'm happy with that. So what I can do is now go to Sticky, create a new Sticky. I'm going to go and try and find this file. Okay, samples. I better find out where I've actually put this one. Actually might save this away. Desktop, which is good. Okay, so I'll just go to my desktop. Okay, so there it is. So this has found it. Okay, which is all good. I can do automatic update. At this point here, I'm just not going to. I'm just going to go create. So create allows a new one, close, and you can see very quickly it's brought in your schedule. So for those that have sort of played around with any of the free apps, which you can get to, there's other Excel into Revit, but it always puts you into a drafting view. This will actually sort of create it as a live link exactly the same as any of this information. So what this will allow me to do, so you can sort of see how that's coming very quickly. If I now go back to my Excel, so this will allow people to do a change at any stage, saving this. I might even close that out. I can now come back to Sticky. I'm manually pushing this, so I can now just go update and close, and you can see it's updated. And obviously, if I had that automatic update, if I open and close that file, it would automatically update. So it's almost like the X-Refing a CAD. It's the linking of Revit files within a Revit model. So that's their sort of new product with Sticky. So it's actually quite cool. Part of the training, we show you a couple of different applications of where you can actually use this. So it's very, very powerful. So Sean, that's probably all I had, mate, to go through some of the Ideate products. Any questions on those last two?
There's basically a lot of comments about the Excel side of it. So I think we'll do more and more of Excel tips and tricks.
Yeah.
So it's very good, mate. So some of the questions are about applications for MEP and structure, which is actually part of the last poll we're going to do as well. So
yeah.
I might just jump back into the PowerPoint. Yeah, there you go. So we are quite keen to get training that's relevant to this market. So there's two questions I want to ask about the training courses. One is the duration. So we reckon it's going to be a day or so. It's a half day of teaching and a half day of exercises, but we'd like to get some confirmation on what people believe for that one. So if you believe a half day is enough, or it should be longer than that.
Hang on, mate. Yeah, I think switch you across. You might just pause it. Yep. Just to make sure everyone can see your screen. Yep. Okay, good. There you go.
Cool. So okay, so it seems to be a combination of e-training and the half-day version, which is good. Okay, that's quite interesting. So let's just share that quickly. So that's what we expected, really. We'll probably do a combination of a full day training with an e-option as well. We'll
the one, just on that, just so everyone's aware, the one-day training course being developed, it is actually hands-on for full day. So you actually get to go through all the exercises. It is not just people presenting.
Yep. And then one of the last polls I want to ask very quickly is, like in the ideal world, we would do a separate course for architecture, structure, and MEP. But a lot of the guys tell us that the concepts are the same for each of them. So we could do a generic course or individual separate courses. So we would probably start with a generic one. What we're really after here is how much interest there is in individual courses. And it looks like quite a lot from this early feedback here. So we have about 84%, 85% in fact, asking for separate courses. Okay, that's good for us to know. It will help us get enough resources dedicated to this. I think we'll start with a generic one because we can do it quickly, and then we'll learn from that and expand it. So what we're also interested in doing is running workshops. So obviously the training course is a full day. We'd like to do kind of a 2-hour workshop just to give you a bit of a sample of this stuff, because we understand that watching an expert who is very au fait with Revit doing the kind of more challenging areas on one side, we can do a whole bunch of kind of subsets of this in workshops. Now, over the years, because of YouTube and because everyone's busy, we realized that people are slower to attend workshops. So what we're asking here, first of all, is, are workshops relevant? If so, what time slot? But we're happy to work around any time. So one option which guys have mentioned in the past is to do it from 4 p.m. to 6 p.m., meaning that you take a bit of work time and a bit of personal time, so the bosses don't get so upset. Again, we're happy to work around any time, and it's probably impossible to find something which suits everybody, but we want to just get some feedback on this. Okay, so what's surprising here is that morning is actually quite popular. I wouldn't have expected that. So we're happy to do a breakfast version of this as well. Again, we're quite happy to put on beers and pizzas as well to make it a social event, work hard, play hard type of an event. So let me just close this. So I just got a text from Ian in WA asking if the recording will be available, and it definitely will. We're recording this entire thing, so it'll be up on the website at the latest by Monday, possibly today. Okay, so let's just see what else we're going to go through here. I do have one more question to ask, which is about future events. So this screen here is some of the ideas we're thinking about. So we want to do some more on practical usage of technical software for BIM-related tasks. So what Peter's showing here with BIMLink is a good example of that. We can do quite a few more variations on those. The non-BIM data is a very interesting one as well, because there are smaller projects or even mundane parts of complex projects that need to have standard Excel type work done. The audits is a really important one. So we've got a new white paper coming out on how the time savings for doing audits make massive downstream impacts. So by investing time early in the process, you save enormous money later on. So that's one that we're very kind of interested in doing. I mentioned collaboration earlier. We can do a lot with that. So we've got experts in all the various facets. We're also doing more and more on both the legal and the business side of this, because as well as getting the software to work, there's a whole change management process. And then there's other software. So we're not restricted just to all of this software. It can be any software we think is relevant. So I've just got a very, very quick poll here. I want to get some indication of which of these are more relevant. So again, you can pick multiples. We're going to see which ones are not relevant as well as which ones are. When this session closes, there will be a survey, which we would like you to spend 1 minute filling out if you could. You have the option just to type in other sessions there as well. We've had a bunch of guys ask about Celebri, for example, which is something we're quite interested in as well. So the more feedback we get, the more we can dedicate towards that. So it looks like the BIM processes is the winner of this one. Let me just quickly close this and share the results. So you will see that, which is good. That ties into what we're going to do here as well. So I'll just quickly go to the last slide. I'm conscious of time. We don't want to go too far over here. So the last thing we want to do is just encourage you to give us as much feedback as you think is relevant for us. The format of this session was based around just showing a few of the applications that can be done. They can be taken to all kinds of different levels of sophistication. And we do want to get some kind of guidance on workshops, stroke webcasts, stroke collateral. So whichever one is going to make the most impact, leave us know, and we'll be happy to resource it. So with that, I want to thank Peter for all the work he did in preparing this stuff, and we look forward to doing more of these sessions in the future. Okay, someone's asking what the cost here. I don't know exactly what it is, but I can have some of the guys send that out. It's quite cheap. Do you know roughly what it costs, Peter?
It varies between the standalone and network price. So it's probably more a question back to the number of people within your business, and then you can very quickly work out if you go to a network version or a standalone. So you can give direct prices.
We'll have one of the
BDM. Get one of the BDMs probably to go back.
One of the guys who send it out. Look, on the survey that comes out straight away, there's a comment section. So please leave us know what we need to follow up on. We'll be happy to do it. Excellent, guys. Thank you very much for your time, and we look forward to seeing you again very soon.